got to start with Alexander Isak, though, who's informed Newcastle he wants to explore his options in this transfer window. The Premier League champions Liverpool made an informal approach for Isak last week and remain huge admirers of the Sweden striker.
Alexander Isak, Mike, was right now supposed to be in the air en route to Singapore for the next stage of Newcastle's pre-season preparations. You may remember at the weekend he travelled back to Glasgow from Austria for the friendly match against Celtic, but was then missing for the game. Eddie Howe said afterwards that he had a slight issue that they were assessing. They were managing his minutes, but also he wanted to essentially take him out of the firing line due to the speculation that was surrounding him, and he was sent back to Newcastle to recover from that injury. And I think, you know, reading between the lines to try and get his head into a good space. And then this morning, 5 days later, Isak, as I say, was supposed to be on that flight to Singapore. The official line from the football club was that he was nursing that slight or minor thigh injury, and he would recover back here at Tyneside. And then the news broke just about an hour or so later that, as you rightly say, Isak wants to explore his options this transfer window. Of course, that's on the back of an unofficial approach from Liverpool last week to Newcastle. Not what any Newcastle United supporter wanted. They wanted to be signing players this window. They thought it was the window they would finally strengthen. They've really struggled to do that, only bringing in Anthony Elanga so far, and now the fear from them that Alexander Isak could be about to go after he told the club he wants to explore his options over a potential departure.
Well, if Isak does leave, Newcastle are interested in signing the RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko. Now, they've explored the conditions of a deal for the 22-year-old, and it's our understanding that Sesko's camp turned down a proposal from a Saudi Pro League club this week. Mark McAdams here to talk us through this Isak story from the Liverpool point of view. Right, when they got Ekitike, I thought, they're done. Great signing, well done. Are they going to get Isak as well? Are they serious?
They're serious about strengthening the squad over the course of this summer. They made that initial approach, an informal one, to Newcastle to explore any potential sale of Alexander Isak, and were told he's not for sale. So they moved on to other targets, which of course was Hugo Ekitike. We know that deal is done and dusted and he's now a Liverpool player. However, they are still in the market to strengthen the squad. Now, first things first, Mike, if Liverpool were to make a number of sales in advanced positions, those strikers, those wide men, then potentially they're going to have to restock them. They're going to have to find players that they believe are at the right quality for Liverpool Football Club. For example, they lose Darwin Núñez or Luis Diaz, who's been linked with Bayern Munich, or Harvey Elliott. They're going to need to replace those players. So therefore, does that interest in Alexander Isak disappear? Or do they say, well, OK, let us know the conditions of a potential deal? Since they had that initial contact last week, things have changed quite considerably, as Keith Downey has just outlined. He's told him he wants to explore potential moves this summer. He's explained that to the football club, so therefore it's a different dynamic to what it was last week. You might find that Liverpool's interest, while they've stepped back from it for the moment, they might reignite it in the next few days.
You and I know transfers change really quickly, lickety-split. Liverpool have been adamant. Luis Diaz going nowhere. That changes, doesn't it, if Isak is suddenly a target?
Absolutely, and I think Bayern Munich's opening offer, which we understand to be around 67 million euros that was rejected for Luis Diaz, is the first point of action between the two football clubs. We understand from our colleague Sky in Germany that Luis Diaz is still very much a target for Bayern Munich, so you'd imagine that a second offer will be forthcoming at some stage. And if Liverpool do start to lose players over the course of the next few weeks, then they are going to have to strengthen, and therefore the Alexander Isak thing could be something on the agenda in the next few weeks once again.
That's definitely strengthening. How do they afford him, though, given how much they've already spent this summer?
They've spent 295 million so far, and that includes potential add-ons. When you look at the fixed fees, it's around 250 million. When you look at their net spend so far in this summer's window, it's around 200 million. So they've actually been quite clever and creative. They've generated around 60 million worth of income so far. And if you were to sell Luis Diaz, Harvey Elliott and Darwin Núñez, you'd be looking at, between 150 and 200 million, hence why they can go again. The other side of the coin is that Liverpool Football Club are really well run by FSG. They didn't spend virtually no money last summer, whilst turning over in excess of 600 million in their last set of financial accounts that ended in May 2024. Their next set of financial accounts will show a huge uplift in both commercial income, in revenue driven by winning the Premier League, their commercial partnerships that have all got bonuses attached because of their success. So therefore, that allows them more room to spend money. An independent football financial expert has said to me, not only could they spend what they've already spent comfortably, they could spend another 200 million on top of the 295 that they've committed to in this summer and still be PSR compliant.
Wow, they're in fabulous shape. As are you, Mark McCann. Thank you very much.
It's the pink, the mauve.
Very nice. Well, Liverpool are currently on their pre-season tour in Hong Kong, and their skipper Virgil van Dijk has revealed they're continuing to work hard to improve that squad.
Listen, I think this season we all start from scratch. I think everyone's tried to improve their teams, and we as well. I think we did a great addition to the team so far, and let's see what happens for the rest of the transfer window. But I think it's all down to hard work, showing our quality, consistency, and we know how difficult that is. So focus on ourselves, and the hard work obviously is already going. You know, we work so hard in training.
Well, the Newcastle fans that we caught up with would be really sad to see Isak go, but they've implored the club to act quickly and find a replacement.
It's obviously devastating to lose Isak if we do lose him. Best striker in the world, in my opinion, but no player's bigger than the club. You know, for me, we have to move quickly. This should have been sorted already. We need to get his replacement in, and the money will bring in 4 or 5 quality replacements, hopefully.
If he wants to go, he can, go. He's done everything he could for the club, hasn't he? So I think he'd go with everyone's well wishes. I think if he is going to go, the time's now, so we can act and get some players in ASAP. I think going into a Champions League season without him and no replacements would be, devastating.
It's quite hard because I feel like we should be spending more money and a bit faster because we keep losing all our targets, and to lose Isak as well would be really not great.
He wants to leave, so let him leave. I don't want a sulking striker here for the next 12 months, run his contract down, maybe get an injury, maybe get less money for him. Just replace him now for me. If he wants to go, let him go.
So we've already told you that Newcastle interested in Benjamin Sesko if Isak goes, and they also held more talks with Brentford over signing Yoane Wissa. Now, it's our understanding Brentford value the player at least £40 million, but he wants to go. Newcastle have been increasingly hopeful they can get him for about £35 million. Brentford's valuation of Wissa has increased after Brian Mbeumo's sale because it's seen as a risk to lose both players.